Okay, family, we are back with another interview. I'm so excited about it. Today, I have my sister friend, Alicia Moore. Girl, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. I always love. First of all, I love meeting other artists because it makes me feel like I'm not alone. Okay, being an independent gospel artist, sometimes it feels like really lonely. Like, what are we doing? Okay, and so I really love meeting other independent gospel artists, but specifically, I love meeting other artists who are like-minded. And I think we met like during the pandemic, right? Like in the
Yes.
middle of it. And we had a conversation, and I can just sense from that conversation that, oh, she's dead serious about her walk with God. I love it. I love it. Because, we meet some people, and it's like, I ain't trying to judge nobody walk, but it just seemed a little, no depth,
Right.
But I can tell immediately that you have some depth to you and that you love God for real. It's not a game, it's not a joke. So I'm so excited to have you on. I've already read your bio, but I love for my guests to introduce themselves. So please introduce yourselves to the audience.
All right. I'm Alicia Moore. I grew up a military brat for a short period of time. Lived in Germany, some other places, Colorado. And we came back, my mother and I, this time when my parents were no longer together. We came back to Georgia, where I'm from. Grew up in the Hinesville area. I later moved to North Carolina, but I grew up, singing in choirs, and I'm just a person that learned at a very young age that I really wanted to serve God. So that's basically
Awesome. I
it.
love that. And so you said you grew up in Hinesville, Georgia. I was raised in Norcross, Georgia, Gwinnett County. Okay.
Wow.
So I'm a New Yorker. I try to hold on to New York, as much as I can. But the gag is I'm probably a lot more Southern than I like to admit. Okay. I spent most of my childhood there. So, Southern a little bit here. But that's so cool. I didn't know that you were an Army brat.
Right.
Wow. I'm
Mhm.
always so intrigued by that lifestyle. So really quick, let's just dabble into that. How did that like shape you as a woman and as a musician, like moving around and being in those different type of environments? Like, how did that shape you?
Well, you really learn to adapt because you may be moving, or your parent may be leaving, going out of overseas, different things like that. So you learn to adapt and fit in. Right now, like I don't live in my hometown. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina, where my husband grew up. So you just learn to adapt and fit in basically wherever you are. I basically can get along with anyone. I'm not that troublemaker. I'm just here and I can get along with everyone. So you really learn to adapt.
That is really awesome. You definitely have a likable personality, like immediately. So yeah, that rings true for sure. So let's go ahead and get into your story. Tell us. So you are an independent gospel artist. Tell us how you got into doing gospel music and being an artist.
Well, I come from a musical family. My grandmother's great grandmother played the guitar. So grew up in church, and I was really shy as a young child, but I love to sing. I would be in all the choirs, youth choir, all the choirs, adult choirs. But it was in my late teens that I really began to step out and sing by myself solo, and I've continued on that journey. Leading praise and worship is something that I started out doing in my late teens. And then I always was writing poems and songs early as a young girl. So music is something that it almost came naturally. And then when I feel like it was a way of escape when my parents were no longer together, that sadness that I would feel, I would put it into music. So I was able to write and do things. And I pretty much have just been singing as long as I can remember from a little girl.
Wow, we are so similar. We are so similar, and I love it. Talking to independent gospel artists, we have a variety of paths that we take, but I feel like most of us have the same type of background. We start in church, we start in a choir. Many of us have started writing poetry before we started writing songs. So I love that. I think that's so cool. So tell me more about your process. Like, how did you go from maybe a praise and worship leader, and I'm sure you probably still do some of these things now, as I do, but to a recording artist? Because to make that switch, it's something that has to happen in your brain, I feel, for you to make that switch to say, I'm going to step forward and really take a real leadership role. Like, so you're a praise and worship leader in church, but there's a little bit of a difference that happens when you say, okay, I'm going to be an artist. So tell us about that process. How did you go from praise and worship leader, singer in church, singing in the choirs, to, okay, I'm going to be an artist?
It was always something that I really wanted to do. Like, even as a child, I would, whether it was a broom handle or a brush, I'm always singing. And I said, I'm going to be a singer. I remember career day in kindergarten. I went as a singer. Um, so even though I was shy and everything, I always knew that I wanted to do it. But I even wrote Striving so many years ago. And I said, gosh, I could have started so much, a long time ago, but my timing is not God's timing. And so I began to feel an urgency. I would write the vision. I wrote the vision a long time ago, and I kept saying, I really feel like it's time to go out. And I felt like a real urgency. And I sang with my current praise team at the Kingdom Covenant Church, and we had launched our CD as well, probably 2 years before I began to put out my own music. So and I've been on recording projects with other people. So it's something that I really wanted to do, but it was just like it was an urgency that I couldn't let go of. And I knew God wanted me to go forth. So I had to do it.
Yes, child. I know about that urgency, honey. I know about that. It's like my father would call it like a burden that he puts on you
Yes.
almost. That's like, no, I have to do this. So,
Right.
oh, I know about that for sure. And girl, you mentioned my song, Striving. First of all, let me say, God really ordained you to write that song, because there have been times. First of all, when I first heard it, I loved it, but there have been times when I was like going through something, and like I said, we met during the pandemic, so that's about
Right.
2020, so like 2 years now, right? I've known of you, I've known of your music, and then we've gone through challenges or whatever have you during that time. And there were times where I'm just like, Lord, even with like doing the gospel underground, thinking, what in the world am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Like, it's not moving where I want it to move. And I would hear you in my ears, striving, striving. I would hear it and I'd be like, oh, yes, God. So that song is definitely anointed, and I love it. I love the message. What was the inspiration? How did you write that song? How did that song come about?
To be honest with you, I feel like I was going through something when I wrote that song. It was many years ago, and I just feel like we're all striving daily. And I have such a love, like I'm a servant at heart. There's so many things, even though, I'm on the praise team, but there's so many things behind the scenes that I do. And so I really have a love for like God's people, like I care. Sometimes I care too much where it just kind of gets me in trouble and I take on too much. But I just wrote it in a place where I was thinking about other people, thinking about people messing up, friends and family. And I just was like, God, we're striving daily. We want to get this thing right. So it just came from that place of going through and looking at family members and things.
Yes, that song is so timeless. It is such a timeless message, and I love it. So, no matter how old it is, you ain't even got to tell us how old it is, girl. That song will live forever because it's so true. We are all striving daily to make heaven our home, to make God proud,
Man.
to make sure that we are in His will. And that's why I love that song. You are definitely an anointed songwriter, and I know that you won an award, right, for
I did.
songwriter of the. Tell us about that. How did that come about?
Well, I was nominated for that award, and it was a voting process that had to take place. And I mean, when I tell you, God has really been, people have just been like emailing me, or people from the UK, people from Canada, people from everywhere. And I'm like, okay, God, you can't get the local support from the people, but it's people like showing up from everywhere. Like, listen, you don't know how this is blessing me. And that's what keeps me going. It really does. So it's been a blessing to just know that it is helping someone.
Right, right. And what was the name of that award show again, or the award that you won?
It was the Dunamis Gospel Awards.
Yes, definitely well deserved. That song is so amazing. And I also feel like that it really speaks to us as independent gospel artists
Right.
because, like you said, sometimes it is difficult to get that support from people right in front of you. It's like, y'all see me over here striving. What's going on? So tell us a bit about your journey. Like, how is it going for you? So I'm gonna ask a couple of questions.
Okay.
What are your goals as an independent gospel artist, and how is it going in achieving those goals?
My goals are, first of all, I want to keep serving God. So I definitely want to hear what He wants me to put out. Um, I try not to get myself in trouble, and I don't want to feel like I'm judging, but we're in a place where it's just like I'm looking at the other artists, and I'm looking and I'm just like, God, is it me? I definitely don't want to listen, I can't be for show. This is my life. I am serving him for real. I want to make heaven my home. This is not a plaything. I have children. I want to teach them. Listen, we can't straddle the fence. I definitely want to. I believe that I'm pure in everything that I do. That I'm trying to be pure in everything that I do. So my goals are really, I want. We focus on sometimes just saying, oh, what do I want? People are saying you can have what you want. But at this point, I just said, Lord, I just want what you want for me. Because sometimes I might not be able to see clearly. So my prayer has been, God, I just want what you have for me. Definitely. I would love to continue to write songs. That's the goals of mine. I can write for others. That would be a goal of mine. Um, I can't tell you if I'll travel all over the world. I mean, we are supposed to speak those things in existence, but for right now, I just want what God has for me. I want to go in His timing, not my timing.
That is so beautiful. See, I told y'all. This. I love to connect with genuine people, and I totally understand what you mean. The Stellars just aired, and there was a lot to be said about it. So I totally understand what you mean. You don't. We're not out here to judge people. We're not out here
Right.
to do any of that. But we have eyes. And
Yeah.
we see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
have ears and we hear what's going on. And if we can be honest, not all of it sounds like God.
Right.
So I love that your heart is to please the Most High God and to really figure out what it is that He wants you to do, where He wants
Yes.
you to go, what does He want you to say to His people through song. I love, love, love it. I love it. And I love to stay connected with musicians like that. It keeps me humble. It keeps me in remembrance of what God has called me to do and who He called me to be. So I would love to know if you could like pinpoint through your music, what is your resounding message through your music that you want to speak to the world?
For this project that I started off with, I had a goal in mind to just not only reach the saved, I was trying to reach the unsaved as well. And it has really been doing what um, God has set out to do, because I feel like people are coming to me. I don't listen to gospel music, but I listen to that. I really could identify with that, because when you song Never Give Up, I've been listening to that every day. I'm going through on my job, or I'm going through with this. So definitely I feel like everything that I set out to do with this project is going well. I wanted to reach the saved and the unsaved. I am writing songs, however, that are worship music now. So God has me doing something kind of a little bit different. It may not have, the groove bump, things like that, but it's going to go more of, I wanted to have that feel as a Sunday morning, how people really come and they hear me, and you really can feel the worship. So I just want to leave a sound. I just want it to be a sound of Jesus. I just want you to feel Jesus in everything. That's all I want to do. I just want him to be. I want them to look at me and know that there's a difference in my life. Say something like there's something about her. I want people to see that.
Yes, I love it. And I love that you said that has you working on music that sounds like Sunday morning.
Right.
I love that. And the reason why I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, because I remember years ago when I wrote Do What Jesus Says, I was like, I'm apostolic Pentecostal and we have a sound.
Right.
And I was like, Lord, this don't really sound like he says, don't judge what I gave you. So I've always written very differently. Like it does not
Right.
sound like the tradition that we come from. So I've always wanted to write songs like that. So I'm like, I'm praying that he still allows me to do that. But I think it's so important. It's great to have the contemporary stuff. It's great to have, I know a big fad right now is like trap gospel. I mean, whatever floats your boat. I know it's great to have all these different sounds, but I think it's important to never forget the sounds of Sunday morning. Never forget
Yes.
the
Yes.
sounds of when you come to church. And Ricky Dillard said something on the Stellars this year. They gave him, I forgot which, it was a big prestigious award, but I forgot what it was. But basically in his speech, he was saying, we love the new stuff, but don't kick the choir off the choir loft. And he's been
Right.
striving to maintain choir music because the truth of the matter is, when you go to church, you don't hear the stuff that you hear on the radio most of the time. You don't
Right.
hear that stuff. You hear the praise and worship. You hear the choir music.
Yes.
So how is that going for you? Is it like, how has it been difficult? Because I'm like, Lord, I want to write some of that too, and I'm like scared. Like, help me out, Lord. How's it been?
I really don't feel, I feel like it has been just flowing. It's just been flowing
Good.
and flowing and flowing because, it may start off, I'm praying, and then he just drops it in. I may be anywhere. He just starts dropping it in my spirit. And
Yes.
that I'll just start writing from there. So
Yes,
being
I
in the
love it.
pandemic has been a little bit different. So you're able
Mhm.
to I might have had a little bit more time to write and focus on different relationship and getting in right relationship with him.
Right, right, right. So before we jump into talking about your project Striving, because we got to
Uh-huh.
talk about that, I want to know a little bit more about your writing process. So what is it like for you when you're writing a song? Um, I get this question a lot too, and I think people think that writing a song is harder than what it is. So I would love for you to share your writing process.
To be honest with you, I don't know how others are able to write and everything, but with me, um, it really happens it's kind of a simple process, but I'm blessed to be able to not only write, but God gives me the melody of the song. He also gives me how it's supposed to go. So basically, when I need to go and record, I know exactly how I want it, how it needs to sound, and the words to it as well. So when he starts dropping it into my spirit, I just start singing it. And then from there, as I continue to sing it, I'll go and write it down then.
Nice. I'm the exact same way. And it's so funny because whenever I tell people that, they're like, what? They're like, for whatever reason, that's not how a lot of people write. So, I
Right.
mean, I guess we just blessed like that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but I love that. It just flows. And
Right.
you know what I honestly think? I think that staying in a place of prayer makes it easier. It
Right.
makes it flow like that. It makes it come like that. Do
Mhm.
you primarily write to tracks or do you write just off the top of your head? Like, what about that?
Just off the top of my head, it'll just come. I'll just, I might be in the shower, I might be driving, I might be walking the track or something, and it just pops in my head.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So let's go ahead and get into this EP that you recently dropped called Striving. So tell us all about the EP. Tell us about the features, the sound, everything.
Okay, well, striving. So a little bit before the pandemic, so 2019, I wanted to just get some singles out to kind of get my name out there a little bit. And 2020, I dropped Never Give Up. I have an amazing producer, Sonny King. He is excellent. He has an excellent ear. He pushes me. When I am writing, if it's something else, he'll tell me like, okay, this is this, but what did God do for you on this? So he challenges me. So I love a producer that will challenge you, and you can go back and write a little bit more. So he is excellent. Never Give Up. I sung with my first cousin. Her name is Angie Allen. So my first cousin on my dad's side, I was able to link up with her, something that I wanted to do for a long time, just something to bring family together. But I had been saying, okay, I want to finish this project, but I wanted it to be a little bit different. So not only does it have just my songs, I went back and I did some remixes. And the remixes, I have Sonny King that is on there doing a rap verse on Never Give Up remix, Angie Allen, which is my cousin. And then we have K.O. Bracy, that is a wonderful, he's a gospel rap artist, and he solely lives for God. It's not, he's just half playing. I mean, he is doing awesome things. He's amazing. But I wanted to put some scriptures in between my tracks, because these are some of the scriptures that I was thinking of or the Lord led me to when I was writing the songs. So I just kind of put those in between them, and then I ended it with a prayer. That project, Striving, the full project, released May 25th of this year. So it's been going well. I'm just thankful to basically have gotten it out. I'm just thankful for that.
Yes, yes. That the project is amazing. And fun fact, I had the honor and privilege of doing the artwork for the project. Yes.
Yes.
So thank you so much for trusting me with that. I'll be sweating doing people stuff. I'm like,
Yes.
Lord Jesus, I just want them to like it. But the project is amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really, really love the interlude. Like you said, the scriptures,
Yes.
the word of God that you put in the entire project. I love it.
And let me mention before we get through, the person that is doing my interludes, reading the scriptures, is my Aunt Connie, my Aunt Connie
Okay.
Coles, who has a radio background that I would go to Hartford, Connecticut every summer. And I would get in the studio booth, and because she did radio, so I would record myself singing other songs and do voiceovers. So I was so happy that I was able. I asked her, "Can you do this for me?" And she said, "Sure." So I'm blessed to have my aunt reading those scriptures for me on the project.
I'm so glad you shared that, because I was definitely going to ask who was the voice. You can tell she's done something with her voice, because it's just
Yes.
so. You have you ever listened on like the Bible apps and they're like reading to you, or any of
Right.
those like calm meditation apps? She has that type of like voice that's very calming. I just downloaded an app called Dwell, and it's kind of like that. They have different voices that will read scripture to you, and I just love that you included that within your project. I think another reason why I really love meeting independent gospel artists is because we are independent, we do a bunch of creative things.
Right.
If you were signed to a label, they might have been like, you can't do that. Like, so we have the space, time, and opportunity to just add our little extra sauce on it, do the things that matter to us, the things that are on our heart the most.
Yes.
And to put the word of God within the entire project, I just thought was just so, so, so beautiful. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we let you go, we want to know, how can people follow you?
I am on social media on Facebook. Alicia Rayleigh Moore is my personal page, but I do have a musician band page under Alicia Moore. Instagram, Alicia.Moore28. I am on YouTube. You can type in Alicia Moore. There's more than one Alicia Moore, but I promise you, if you type in Alicia Moore Striving, you will find me. I am on Twitter, not as much. I need to get better with some of those other things, but you can definitely find me on YouTube.
Absolutely. So, really quick, because I was about to forget this, y'all pray for me. But I do want to do a rapid fire round. This is
Yes,
just for fun, and I also like to hear the answers because everybody has a different answer. All right, so you ready?
I'm
Ready to
ready.
get into it?
Yes.
Okay, so question number one. If you could collaborate with one artist, they're dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Okay, now I need two. Okay, I'm gonna give you my secular person.
Okay.
Um, well, the gospel artist. If I had to pick anyone, I think CC Winans. I love CC. And my
Right.
voice when I'm in on a Sunday morning, yes, I can go there and take the voice up and everything, but I am chill. You're gonna hear that soothing kind of feel for me as well. So CC
Yeah.
Winans.
Uh-huh.
But we need to collab. Jenise La Vonne is who I need to
Good.
collab with. I'm coming to New York.
Let's do it. You were like the second or third person that had said that. And I was like, listen, I am here. I'm here for every piece of the collaborations. Okay, let's do it. I'm so excited. I can definitely hear Cece though, too, because you just have that very chill demeanor like her. So that would be really, really nice. I love that. Oh, trying to make me cry, child. All right. Question number two. What is a resource that has helped you in your music ministry journey?
Once again, your ministry has helped me tremendously
Y'all,
because I would be thinking some of the things and I would say, I want to do some remixes on these songs, but it's been a while since I've released the songs. What did I do? Go on your podcast. You can do some interesting things. You can remix. I said, see, God, I knew I was supposed to be listening to this.
oh my gosh, to God be all the glory. I'm so like, once again, you're not the first person that said that. And I'm like, and
Yeah.
I just have to shoot it right back to you because when you weren't in my house, but there were times when I was just like, I'm not gonna do this podcast no more. I'm not gonna do this because it just seems like it wasn't doing what I thought it should
Right.
do. And I would hear striving in my heart and in my mind, in my ears. And I would just be like, you know what, Lord, put it on repeat and just work, just get to work.
Right.
So you have been a blessing to me as well. And I'm so, so grateful for you. Oh, I'm all emotional now. Okay. I'm bringing it back together. All right. So the last question is, what's the best music business advice that you have received?
Once again, that it comes from you. And I would say when you told us to just, take your time. We're not in competition. There's not a race that we have to do. So, if it's not coming to you, you're writing and you think, oh, I got to get this project, you have time. You have time. So that was
Oh,
the best thing that you could have told me because listen, I got time. It doesn't matter. I don't have to move on man's schedule. I can move on God's schedule. And, if it's a little chaotic, life comes at us, just take my time. Take my time. So that was the best
wow.
thing that I got from you and your podcast.
Lord have mercy. I'm outdone today. I'm outdone. I'm done. I'm done. To God be all the glory for the great things that He has done. I'm so grateful for this connection. I'm so glad to have had you on. I'm so excited for you and your music ministry. And I just pray God's continued blessings over you because certainly we need more artists with a heart that is truly after God. This
Man.
ministry, business, industry, it is so easy. And it's such a slippery slope. It's so easy to get into self and to forget God. It's so easy to become self-absorbed and so focused on your own ambitions, but we have these gifts, we have these talents to bring and give glory back to God. We are striving
That's
each and
right.
every day. So, again, I'm so happy to have you on the podcast. We love you. I'm praying for you in your music ministry as always. And you guys make sure that you follow and support her music ministry. Follow her on all of the socials. I'm going to link all of your information in the description of the show notes, as well as on YouTube, and also post you up on our social media platforms. So love you, sis. I
Love
pray
you
God continue to
too.
bless you and keep you. And thank you so much for being on the Gospel Underground.
Thank you.